The Titan clenched his fist, gathering all his strength into his arm to form a fierce surge of power. Letting out a roar, he charged straight forward. Boom! His punch, as heavy as a meteorite, struck Lava Dragon directly in the body. A painful howl tore from the beast's throat, the sound shaking the entire space. Lava Dragon stood up from within the smoke and debris, his dazed eyes narrowing into thin slits, while Titan of the Mountain stared at him sharply. "You should not have stood in my way." The next moment, Lava Dragon's large body twitched. His eyes lit up with ferocity as he glared back at Titan of the Mountains, filled with murderous intent, catching him off guard. Lava Dragon suddenly unleashed a lethal move. His arm pierced straight through Titan of the Mountain's stone-like chest. A golden glint flashed in Lava Dragon's eyes as a terrifying aura erupted from his entire being. He roared, his face smeared with blood, looking fearsome. "I've already gauged your strength." With that, Lava Dragon gathered an overwhelming amount of energy into his mouth. A blinding golden glow radiated outward from the energy orbit formed. The very next second, Lava Dragon opened his jaws and fired the devastating energy blast directly at Titan of the Mountains. Pinned by the arm through his chest, the Titan was unable to move. He began to panic and shouted, "No!" The energy orb shot forth, slamming into Titan of the Mountain's rock-hard body. The golden light streaked across space, cutting through countless asteroid fragments before shooting far into the distance. Then came a massive explosion. The energy blast struck a planet deep in space, exploded on impact, turning to rubble in an instant. Insect Princess watched the spectacle intently, couldn't help but exclaim, "What the?" So, Lava Dragon is finally getting serious. Ziyizu watched Lava Dragon hovering in the void, staring at the debris and smoke before it, ready for the next round in its duel with Titan of the Mountains. As the smoke gradually cleared, the Titan figure emerged, with a block of golden rock shielding him. But as the dust fully settled, it became clear. It wasn't a rock, it was a massive blade, one that had protected him from Lava Dragon's powerful attack. Crack! A sudden fracture appeared on the blade's surface. The hairline cracks slowly widened. Fifth Pillar glanced at the growing fissure with shock in his heart. The 12 divine pillars that possess world-eating powers are supposed to be indestructible, yet now one of them is cracking? Before he could ponder further, Lava Dragon roared, "Now it's my turn to strike back." Facing the foe that had nearly killed him, Titan of the Mountains still held his pride. "I should have gone all out from the start and killed you." That statement infuriated Lava Dragon. With unwavering confidence, he retorted, "You still have time to show me your killing move. I won't run." Titan of the Mountains raised his massive blade and dashed toward Lava Dragon. "I don't need your permission. I was going to do that anyway." With eyes full of killing intent, he stared down Lava Dragon, back during the insect invasion. This very technique drove them all away. He shouted, "Divine Pillar Tarzan." In a flash, the giant blade in his hand transformed into an enormous stone pillar. With the speed of lightning, he brought it crashing down toward the spot where Lava Dragon stood. With a thunderous boom, the massive stone pillar smashed onto Lava Dragon's head. Instinctively, Brother Four raised his arms to defend himself, glancing at the skin peeling off him arm and the blood spurting out. He couldn't help but feel alarmed. Even his skin was being shaken off. Titan of the Mountains didn't give him a chance to catch his breath. Roaring, he exerted more force, pressing down the stone pillar in an attempt to crush Lava Dragon in a single blow. Sensing danger, his eyes widened in shock, pupils contracting. The stone pillar, in Titan's hand, turned into a blue light that enveloped his body. The bluish radiance quickly expanded, engulfing an entire sector of space. Witnessing this, Yoziyu grew worried. Titan's original strength was already above Lava Dragon's, and now he had such a powerful weapon. On the other side, the blue light surrounding the Titan shattered into glowing fragments that danced around his body. Titan of the Mountains took a deep breath and let out a deafening roar. Sonic shock. A shockwave of sound blasted straight toward Lava Dragon. Boom! A thick mist of white smoke blanketed the battlefield from within the dust cloud. Inside was none other than Lava Dragon. He had withstood the attack head-on, and like a sudden gale, surged toward the Titan with astonishing speed. The Titan's expression showed clear disbelief. "That was my full-force strike." Before he could finish his sentence, Lava Dragon's razor-sharp claws clamped down on his head, locked the Titan's movement. The golden eyes glowed with killing intent in the darkness, sensing death looming close. Titan's eyes widened in terror. With a cold gleam, other claw of him formed a deadly arc. In a flash, it slashed diagonally across Titan's shoulder. It came with steel wings. A streak of golden light cut through the void. The Titan's body was cleaved clean in two by the claws. Too stunned to speak, his wide eyes stared at his crumbling form. Summoning the last of his strength, he lifted his stone pillar to strike one final time. But Lava Dragon was faster. He caught his arm in his claws. Titan of the Mountains jolted in shock. His arm was held in an unbreakable grip. He couldn't move it at all. Before he could react, Lava Dragon gathered energy into his mouth. A blinding golden light surged. On the verge of erupting, Yuziyu, witnessing it all, was visibly shaken. The battle is decided. Lava Dragon opened his maw wide, eyes shining with fierce brilliance. "You've lost," he growled. With that, he unleashed the terrifying blast of energy straight at the shattered remains of Titan of the Mountains. Golden light swept across the stars like an announcement. A stream of white smoke escaped from Lava Dragon's mouth. In the vast expanse of space, the shattered body of the Titan of the Mountains floated, his fragments gradually coming back together. Lava Dragon stood frozen, astonished by the sight. The body of the Titan of the Mountains reassembled into one piece and slowly returned to his original form. The body had been completely restructured right before Lava Dragon's eye. A flicker of killing intent flashed. He couldn't help but mutter in awe, "You are truly strong. Thinking that I'll have to kill you soon makes me feel a bit regretful." Even the nearly pulverized head of the Titan of the Mountains had mostly recovered. His two eyes shone brightly once again. The blue fragments gathered around his body, seemingly trying to completely heal him. Lava Dragon widened his eyes in disbelief. What? Such abundant life force. Just then, Yuziyu appeared from nowhere. Under his control, golden tentacles shot outward, extending rapidly. They rushed forward and wrapped around the regenerating body of the Titan. More and more tentacles appeared, eventually encasing his entire body in a giant cocoon. Lava Dragon, seeing his master standing next to the Titan, now fully covered, gently spoke up. "Master." Yuziyu didn't respond, as all of his attention was now on the spirit power was gradually drained away, just by wrapping around the Titan. He narrowed his eyes in consideration, and then tore through the void, dragged the Titan into another dimension. After sending him off, Yuziyu finally spoke. "He's not easy to deal with. This one is more troublesome than expected. I'll put him inside the dimension of void for now." White Tiger flew up to him and blurted a suggestion. "Divine Tree, just kill him." Ziyu shot a glare at the tiger, and annoyed, slapped it with a tentacle. "You'd better shut up. Just hearing you talk gives me a headache." King of Insect, much more sensible, spoke up. "The divine domain of the giants is not to be trifled with. If we kill him, we might spark a full-scale war with the Titan clan." Seizing the moment, he continued, "There are 12 gods in the Titan clan. Each of them possesses a divine artifact. Even our insect tribe knows very little about the Titan gods." Insect Princess turned to Yuziyu and cautiously suggested, "Master, how about using him as a bargaining chip in negotiations with the Titan clan? Wouldn't that bring greater benefits?" Her words seemed to enlighten Ziyu. His eyes lit up as he looked at her. Meanwhile, in the Titan Star region, a land filled with massive creatures resembling moving rock formations, one of them with orange eyes spoke up suspiciously. "I can't sense the spiritual energy of the mountain Titan. What's going on?" Then, his voice turned furious. "Is this the work of those damned insects?" But almost immediately he shook his head. No, they couldn't possibly have defeated the Titan of the Mountains. Standing among his kin, he barked out orders. First, investigate the whereabouts of the Mountain Titan. Also check if the Angelic Star region had any involvement. He then turned to another, who looked like he was forged from lava and stone. Next, summon the Celestial Seer on the front lines. Have him divine the current condition of the Titan of the Mountains. Elsewhere, on a lush green plain, the massive divine weapon once wielded by the Titan of the Mountain stood firmly planted in the earth. Brother Nine gritted his teeth, trying to lift it, and screamed, "Ah!" The next second, he collapsed to the ground, drenched in sweat, staring up at the colossal weapon as he panted, "No good, no good. I can't lift it at all." At that moment, Golden Ant appeared behind him, walked up to the giant divine weapon, trying with all her might to lift it. Her scream echoed into the sky. But even so, the colossal divine weapon didn't budge in the slightest. Embarrassed, Golden Ant quickly made an excuse. "I have something to do. I'll be going now." With that, she flapped her wings and flew off, completely ignoring Panda's dagger-like glare. "This is a transcendent 7th Order divine armament. How can it be that easy to lift it?" Ziyu murmured while standing not far away, watching the massive weapon that had been relocated to. Yet, there were still some who didn't know their limits and wanted to try. That one was Bull Demon. He slapped his palm against the divine weapon, producing a loud thud. The next moment, he opened his mouth wide and let out a roar of effort. Boom! The ground beneath his feet cracked into pieces from the pressure. Gritting his teeth, Bull Demon channeled all his strength to try lifting the divine weapon. Golden Ant heard the commotion and couldn't help but look over in astonishment. Panda clenched his jaw, unable to believe what he was seeing. Brother 2 actually lifted it. Ziyu's eyes widened in shock, cold sweat forming on his forehead. What the hell? The very next second, Bull Demon clenched his teeth as sweat poured down like a waterfall. He growled, "No good, too heavy." Boom! The massive divine weapon slammed back to the ground, its weight blasting the earth into fragments and sending clouds of dust flying into the air. Bull Demon stood next to the wrecked ground, panting heavily. The feeling of the weapon's immense weight pressing down on his body still lingered. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he muttered inwardly, "Truly worthy of being a Tier 7 divine weapon, the weight is unreal." Just then, a figure flew in and landed behind Bull Demon. "Leave it to me." Hearing this, Bull Demon turned around. The newcomer was none other than Yule, clad in his usual black cloak. His bright eyes glinted as he said, "Give me some time. I'll forge each of you a weapon most suited to you." Hearing this, Ziyu extended several tentacles and wrapped them around the massive divine weapon, lifting it into the air. Dust and soil scattered in all directions. Ziyu looked at Yule and said, "Take it." With those words, he flung the divine weapon toward Yule using the tentacles. Seeing this scene, Panda, Golden Ant, and Bull Demon all froze in place. Breaking into a cold sweat, Brother 9 screamed at the top of his lungs, "Run!" All three immediately turned tail and bolted. But Yule stood firm, unafraid, and extended his hand to catch the massive weapon directly. A divine weapon so heavy that none of them could lift it, yet Yule easily caught it through sheer magnetic force alone. That alone was enough to show how terrifyingly powerful he was. Ziyu, having no desire to make things difficult for him, simply said, "I'm handing it over to you. Do with it as you please." Yule looked straight at Ziyu and replied, "Thank you, master." Panda looked up as Yule left with the giant divine weapon. Seeing the scene, Ziyu couldn't help but sigh. That ability was just too convenient. Suddenly recalling something, Ziyu thought to himself, "Come to think of it, we still don't have a single weapon of our own." He condensed a crescent-shaped attack, Brilliant Galaxy. Looking at the technique in front of him, Ziyu couldn't help but feel that Brilliant Galaxy was the most weapon-like move. Narrowing his eyes, he muttered, "If only I could raise it to level 7, but for now, I should deal with the Titan first." As soon as the thought crossed his mind, Ziyu turned and called out, Xiaolan, who wasn't far away. Ziyu didn't beat around the bush and went straight to the point. "There's something I need you to do." The girl widened her eyes at him, a look of surprise clearly on her face. Meanwhile, the massive body of Mountain Titan inside the void dimension drifting aimlessly. Just then, one of Ziyu's roots pierced through, breaking open a small hole just large enough for him to pass through. He controlled the root to float toward the imprisoned Titan, looking at his massive body. He couldn't help but think this Titan really was enormous. In a deep voice, he spoke, "How is it inside here?" Hearing someone speak, Mountain Titan was startled. His eyes snapped open in alert, couldn't help but ask curiously, "Who are you?" Sensing the dense purple spiritual energy enveloping Ziyu, Mountain Titan thought to himself, "This spiritual energy is immeasurably vast." Before him, Ziyu gradually grew in size as if a single bite could swallow the Titan whole. "You must be the god of this place, aren't you?" Ziyu replied. "You're not wrong to think that." Hearing Ziyu's confirmation, the Titan couldn't suppress the wave of emotion that surged through him. "Why did you stop me from taking revenge? The insect race killed so many of my kin." In response, Ziyu formed his Brilliant Galaxy and said coldly, "I can't just stand by and let you do that." With that, he unleashed the move, striking the Titan's massive body. A hole instantly appeared at the Titan's waist, revealing bright red veins like molten lava flowing through volcanic rock. Ziyu looked straight at the Titan and continued, "I will seal part of your power, and now I offer you a chance." Mountain Titan clearly felt his strength drop from Transcendent Rank 5 to Rank 4 in an instant. His power plummeted. Out of nowhere, White Tiger and Bull Demon appeared at Ziyu's left and right when he made an offer. "If you can defeat them, I will hand the insect race over to you." These words reached the Titan's ears, shocking him deeply. Ziyu narrowed his eyes. "Make your choice. Fight or die here." Elsewhere, the tunneling device flashed, signaling that someone was using the portal to cross into another dimension. Xiaolan stood atop a bird, flying toward the signal. On either side of them flew the phoenix, radiating divine flames, and the mortal blood crow. Exuding a storm of bloodlust, Xiaolan folded her arms confidently across her chest and smiled. Blood crow beside her opened its mouth and let out a roar. Was when Xiaolan immediately shouted, "Let's move out," toward the Titan star region. As soon as the words left her lips, all of them flapped their wings in unison and soared off in the same direction, in the vastness of space, among massive, multicolored planets. White Tiger was currently engaged in battle with Mountain Titan. It let out a deafening roar, unleashing a massive wave of energy that shot straight toward the Titan's steel-like body. Mountain Titan took the full brunt of the attack head-on, yet came out completely unscathed. The dust and smoke surrounding him gradually dissipated. By the time Xiaolan led a horde of spirit beasts into the Titan Star region, White Tiger and Bull Demon had already been fighting Mountain Titan for 15 days within the void. Even though the Titan was only at early stage rank 5, he still wasn't someone that 10 great fierce beasts could easily defeat, regaining the upper hand. 1 month later, Xiaolan and her gang still soared forward at blinding speed, appearing as only 3 streaks of light. Their bodies were enveloped in a golden layer of spiritual energy, allowing them to withstand the pressure of their high-velocity flight. Xiaolan looked up, eyes full of wonder. I never imagined I'd get the chance to travel across the vast universe like this. Before her lay the Milky Way with stars of countless colors sparkling in the distance. The starry sky that once seemed unreachable now stretched right in front of her. The vast cosmos felt as though it had shrunk, contained entirely within Xiaolan's view. Just then, Bloodcrow shuddered and shouted in alarm. "There's trouble!" Out of nowhere, a massive hand reached toward them, attempting to grab them all in one swift motion. Boom! The hand smashed down onto a planet below, sending dust and debris flying into the air in a thick cloud. The bird managed to dodge by flapping his wings and veering to the side. A testament to the sheer power of the strike, Xiaolan raised her hand to shield herself from the swirling dust. She gritted her teeth, her face filled with shock. "Titan! Looks like we've arrived." Standing before them was a colossal Titan who stared at Xiaolan's group as if they were ants, foolish little pests daring to trespass on his territory. Without a word, he began condensing energy into a glowing orb in the palm of his hand. The energy ball grew larger by the second, pulsing with terrifying power, enough to seriously injure Xiaolan and her group. But Xiaolan didn't flinch. She looked up at him and said boldly, "Mountain Titan is already in our hands." The words struck the giant Titan like lightning. His body froze mid-action then. From behind him another Titan appeared. Now there were 2 of them, exchanged glances, but said nothing. Sensing that the situation had taken a dangerous turn, Xiaolan stiffened, a cold sweat breaking out across her forehead. What is the meaning of this? The 2 colossal Titans stared intently at Xiaolan's group standing before them. Xiaolan furrowed her brows, showing no sign of fear or hesitation as she faced them head-on while waiting for their next action. The Titan who had just attacked Xiaolan's group suddenly opened his mouth, showed a totally different figure with a powerful aura that surged violently around him. As he looked up, the overwhelming pressure surrounding him didn't fade. Instead, became even more intense. He clenched his fists tightly, clearly seething with rage, ready to attack Xiaolan's group at any moment. Xiaolan looked up at him without showing any fear. In terms of presence, she wasn't about to be outdone. The Titan in front of her still seemed uncertain and asked, "Has the Mountain Titan really been captured by you?" Xiaolan's sharp gaze locked onto him while she answered, "We have allied with the insect clan. They are now beasts under my master's command. You are no longer allowed to disrespect them." Still unsure of Xiaolan's group's intentions, the Titan questioned again. "So you're here to declare war on us?" Xiaolan responded calmly. "We are here to cooperate with you." Her words clearly shocked the Titan in front of her. He lifted a hand to his face as if he just heard something absurd. "You're far too arrogant. You capture one of my kin and then talk about cooperation?" His eyes now burned with rage as he growled. "Are you our friends or enemies?" Xiaolan acted as if she didn't notice the fury on his face. With unshaken composure, she answered, "At the very least, not your enemy for now." The Titan stared at her in silence, as though weighing the possibility of her words. A moment later, upon meeting her resolute gaze, he finally made his decision. "Follow me," he said. With that, he and the Titan beside him each raised a hand and pressed against one side of the barrier. With a thunderous boom, cracks began to appear on its surface. Xiaolan watched in awe as the 2 Titans tore open the barrier, revealing a passage to a vast, unfamiliar starfield. The 2 Titans turned to look back at Xiaolan's group, as if signaling them to go inside. Everyone in the gang looked through the broken barrier into the vast, starry sky beyond. The twinkling stars within this space were so bright, they seemed to sting the eyes. Every planet here was much larger than even the sun. Xiaolan didn't dwell on the thought. Her gaze turned firm as she shouted, "Let's go!" As her words fell, all the birds spreading their wings and soaring through the barrier. They all moved so fast that only streaks of light were left in their wake. Xiaolon gazed up at the massive planets overhead, unable to keep from thinking. Every planet here is enormous. This must be the star domain where the Titan race resides. The birds charged toward a massive, radiant planet in the distance. Xiaolon's brows furrowed, her expression growing serious. This is it, Titan star. At the same time, in a small, vibrant world, Yuziu gazed silently outward, deep in thought. It's been half a month. They must be close to the Titan's realm by now. Elsewhere, Zillian suddenly erupted with terrifying power. He shouted and charged forward Insect King, refusing to be outdone. Roared as he opened his jaws wide, the two of them charged fiercely at each other. With a deafening boom, their clashing powers triggered a wide-scale explosion. Zillian and the Insect King closed in on each other, engaging in hand-to-hand combat. Their speed was so great that only yellow and green streaks were visible in the air. They separated briefly, only to crash into each other again. Their powers entangled in a fierce clash. The two of them chased each other relentlessly, locked in and combat with no signs of separating. Heavy collisions rang out continuously. Both roared at the top of their lungs, their cries deafening and headache-inducing. Yuziu, annoyed by the noise, had covered his ears, frowned in irritation. They've been fighting like this for half a month already. If this keeps up, I'm going to lose my mind, he muttered. Boom! A powerful explosion erupted, sending two massive columns of smoke and dust into the air. Insect King stood in the thick black smoke, panting heavily while Zillian stood opposite it, equally exhausted. Both of them were clearly starting to tire. At that moment, Ziyu noticed a new set of stats appearing before the mantis. Zillian, Transcendent rank 5. Innate talents, evolution, able to ignore the physical defense of most enemies. Hunting instinct, able to easily smell prey and the aura of creatures in the surrounding area. Rhythm of the void, able to lead and teleport constantly within the void afterimage, produces afterimages from high-speed movements, breath of the sea. He also had hide, dragon scales, hidden stinger, and severed limb regeneration. Surprise was evident on Yuziu's face. In his battle against Insect King, Zillian had continued to push past his limits, and finally he had broken through. Standing amidst the smoke, Zillian confidently declared, "I'm much stronger now." Insect King, unshaken, taunted in return. "Good, then let's keep going this time. I won't hold back." Zillian, just as fierce, growled, "Bring it on." What followed was a chaotic series of strange primal sounds from both of them. Hiya ha, ah ha, ooah. Hearing their wild shouting, Ziyu broke into a cold sweat, annoyed and fed up. He used his tree roots to grab both of them by the neck. Then he opened a rift in space and threw both of them into it. "Go fight somewhere else. How noisy." With the two of them banished to another dimension, peace finally returned to the world, turning back to the screen in front of him. Ziyu muttered, "Time to focus on myself. I still have 200 million evolution points. Where should I spend them?" He pondered absent-mindedly. "My spiritual energy increases every second, but my physical body is still stuck at early rank 6. Once he made up his mind, Ziyu spoke aloud. "System, use 100 million evolution points to enhance my body." Ziyu glanced at the message on the screen, then tapped confirm without hesitating. The next second, his entire body was engulfed in a radiant light. Ziyu could feel the transformation surging within him, the power threatening to overflow. More and more beams of light wrapped around his body. He tilted his head back and let out a loud roar in the next moment. The blue light began reshaping his form, enhancing and fortifying his body, slowly and methodically reconstructing his physical form. From afar, it looked as if a brilliant blue star had ignited in the middle of the starry sky. Ziyu closed his eyes, fully attuned to the changes happening within him. When he finally opened his eyes again, the aura around him had completely transformed. It was far more powerful than before. He could see system displayed, ancient tree awakens ability, summon the hidden souls within surrounding plant life. The older the plant, the stronger the summoned power. Wow, a new ability. Staring at the words on the system screen, Yizu began to sweat slightly. He frowned, mumbling to himself. The older a tree is, the stronger it gets. But just how strong can it become? With that, Yizu opened a small rift in space and slipped through it, returning to the dimension of life. His massive tree trunk reappeared in the lush micro-world, teeming with life to give it a try. The next second, Yuziyu activated the new skill, Ancient Tree Awakening. His entire body was instantly wrapped in a faint green spiritual aura. Big Bird and the ape tribe were the first to notice the change. They were standing nearby, widened their eyes in astonishment, and muttered, "What's going on?" A pair of eyes suddenly flashed with brilliant golden light. The next moment, boom! a giant tree crashed straight into the ground, shaking the earth violently. Startled by the noise, birds flapped their wings and quickly flew into the air. The apes perched on the branches were caught off guard and were flung down by the shockwave caused by ZUU. One of them slammed into the ground, landing at the base of the massive tree. Then, the previously motionless ancient trees came to life. They transformed into sentient beings, their glowing eyes turning toward ZU. The next second, all of them moved to stand before him. They bowed in submission and shouted in unison, "Greetings, divine tree!" ZU stared in shock, eyes wide. He began to count the tree folk standing before him. 1, 2, 3. Over 30 trees have awakened already. Casting a glance at the system screen, ZU fell into thought till a new message had appeared. Awakened ancient trees will remain in an awakened state permanently and can even cultivate. ZU's eyes sparkled with amazement. They can cultivate? In other words, I've created a new race. Shifting his gaze to the awakened tree folk with their own independent consciousness, he thought in disbelief. That is a race that belongs only to me. He took a closer look at the tree folk, a completely new species, branches for arms, roots for legs, with monstrous appearance. ZU pointed a thick tree root toward one of them, with big, innocent eyes awaiting further orders. He stretched his long root toward a large rock not far away, giving it an order, "Smash that rock for me." Upon receiving the order, the tree folk immediately let out a loud roar and charged forward, but suddenly thud, it stumbled over a small stone right in front of it. The tree folk lost balance and crashed face first into the ground. It sat up amid the white cloud of dirt, eyes wide, leaning on its arms. From the spot where its nose had hit, a red liquid began to flow. ZU's face darkened. Seriously? A nosebleed? Still, the failed attempt didn't deter the tree folk. It jumped back up and once again rushed toward the large rock. A moment later, a loud boom resounded in the air. With sharp, focused eyes, the tree folk smashed its fist into the giant stone. Cracks spread outward like a spider web as the stone exploded into pieces. ZU stared, stunned. He could hardly believe his eyes. Ha! The tree folk stood amidst the swirling dust, hands on its hips, its round face glowing with pride as it looked at ZU, waiting for a compliment. At that moment, a notification popped up from the system. Transcendent rank 2. ZU silently praised it in his heart. Pretty decent strength. But without a word, he extended a root toward the tree folk. With a sharp crack, he struck the tree folk's body hard with his root, intended to try its defense. The tree folk didn't even flinch. Only a puff of dust rose from where ZU had hit it. It stood there dazed, unable to react, looking around with a blank expression. Question marks practically floated above its head, as if it hadn't even realized what had just happened. ZU withdrew his rote. Slow reflexes, he muttered. But impressive defense, just lacking in speed and intelligence. If properly nurtured, they'll definitely become an extraordinary fighting force. He opened a spatial portal leading to another dimension, then gave them a command. Go, from now on. The Mist World will be your place of residence. No, it shouldn't be called the Mist World anymore. Watching the tree folk gradually pass through the rift and head to the new planet, he made a decision. I'll rename it to the Tree World. On the Flame World, ZU tore through space and entered. He approached 9 Tails and called out her name and got straight to the point. Help me gather various types of spiritual trees. If you can find ancient ones, even better. As soon as he finished speaking, he retracted himself back into the rift and disappeared like a breeze, leaving 9 Tails sweating nervously, not even able to respond in time. 9 Tails shouted after him, but her master was already gone. She grumbled in disbelief. Ancient trees? He wants me to find ancient trees now? 3 days later, 2 radiant trees floated in the void. One blazed golden like fire, the other shimmered icy blue like frozen snow. Standing between them, 9 Tails spoke. This one is the fire spirit tree. This one is the ice spirit tree. They were both discovered on Azure Star. ZU examined the 2 trees and nodded in satisfaction. Very good. Now step back a bit. Let me show you something. With those words, he immediately activated Ancient Tree Awakening. His entire body was wrapped in a massive surge of spiritual energy. That power surged into the fire spirit tree and the ice spirit tree that 9 Tails had just brought back. The next moment, both trees awakened, transforming into humanoid tree folk. 9 Tails stood between 2 trees that she had just brought back, unable to contain her curiosity. Master, why did you suddenly go looking for spirit trees and ancient trees? ZU glanced at her and replied, You'll know soon enough. Step back. The next moment, ZU activated his new ability. The fire spirit tree began to transform, and a pair of bright, gleaming eyes suddenly appeared on its trunk. On the other side, the ice spirit tree underwent a similar phenomenon. A rumbling sound echoed as a layer of solid ice quickly encased the entire body of the ice spirit tree. Finally, both the fire and ice spirit trees completed their transformation into trance. Witnessing this, Nine Tails cried out in excitement. They turned from plants into living beings. Looking down from above, Ziyu said calmly, "Now you understand, don't you? Keep searching for more spirit trees for me." Although Nine Tails didn't quite grasp her master's ultimate purpose, she didn't argue. With his ambitions burning brightly, Ziyu envisioned a future where he commanded an invincible army of trance. Inwardly, he made up his mind, "I'm going to build a powerful army of trance." A beautiful ideal, but in reality, the fire spirit tree and ice spirit tree, moments after their transformation, they started brawling fiercely with each other. "Hey, stop right now," he shouted. Meanwhile, on Azure Blue Star, Thorn stood atop a solitary cliff. Startled, she turned to ask the giant spider with a human face not far away. "What did you say? Master is looking for spirit trees?" The spider opened the large mouth on its back and replied, "And not just any spirit trees, high-quality ones." In the sky above, several trees hovered in midair, suspended by spirit energy. Most of the trees they'd found were only rank 1, and even rank 2 was rare. Gazing at a tall tree with a crimson trunk and golden leaves in front of her, Thorn muttered to herself, "This is a rank 4 tree. Master will definitely need it. If Master wants this dragon blood spirit tree, then he can take it." On the other side, Yuziyu was still eagerly awaiting the arrival of more spirit trees. His eyes widened, and his jaw dropped in disbelief. In front of him stood the dragon blood spirit tree that Thorn had instructed the human-faced spider to deliver. Ziyu could hardly believe his eyes. Did Thorn really cultivate this one herself? Only then did Ziyu notice a chimpanzee lying flat on the ground, completely drained. The humanoid spider chuckled. He accidentally touched the tree and had half of his blood drained. Ziyu extended a tree root toward the chimpanzee and activated Vitality Feather technique. Instantly, the chimpanzee seemed to be pumped full of life, letting out a powerful roar as it rose, brimming with energy. Ziyu understood right away. He couldn't tell how much effort Thorn had put into raising this tree. In the next moment, he used Ancient Tree Awakening to awaken the Dragon Blood Spirit Tree. Vines wrapped around its trunk began to twist and grow wildly. A moment later, a foot wrapped in vines and shaped like a human's stomped heavily on the ground. Ziyu's face flushed with excitement as he stared at the scene in awe. The Dragon Blood Spirit Tree had fully transformed into a stunning face with fiery red hair. It had taken the form of a female body, one that looked astonishingly human. Ziyu couldn't help but marvel inwardly. As expected of a rank 4 spirit tree, truly flawless. Taking the opportunity, he carefully examined it. Its appearance was nearly identical to Thorn. Looking at the tree's emotionless face and its icy white eyes filled with coldness, Ziyu couldn't help but confirm to himself. Indeed, this is the one Thorn nurtured. It seems the higher the tier of the spirit tree, the more perfect its evolved form becomes. In that case, this is worth exploring further. In the vibrant micro-world where Ziyu had taken root, the Dragon Blood Spirit Tree knelt before him and spoke. "Thank you, Tree God, for awakening me." Ziyu's eyes widened in astonishment. It even possesses intelligence now? This is completely different from the previous trance. Thinking that he couldn't help but praise, not bad, then Ziyu shifted his gaze elsewhere. "Thorn, from now on, the Traint army will be under your command. From this day forth, you shall be the ruler of the Tree Force realm, commanding tens of thousands of Traints." Ziyu thought to himself, Thorn, half human, half plant, with her leading, the Tree Force realm will surely flourish. Standing in front of her master, Thorn lowered her head in acknowledgement. In the days that followed, Ziyu remained rooted in place, awakening one spirit tree after another. In just half a month, he had created between 700 and 800 Traints. Meanwhile, in the Titan Divine Domain, home to countless Titans, an enormous Titan with terrifying power appeared. Xiaolan looked at the creature and thought, this must be the strongest being in the entire Titan sector. Her group was surrounded by gigantic Titans. Xiaolan couldn't help but feel, it's like we're just a tiny boat caught in a violent storm. She lowered her head slightly, and slowly, her lips parted. With sharp eyes and without fear, Xiaolan stared at the Titans and declared, "I come under orders from my master to negotiate. Mountain Titan has attacked us. He is now in our custody. If you want him returned safely, bring something of equal value for exchange." The strongest Titan responded coldly, "And if we refuse?" Xiaolan's face darkened. "Then you'll never see him again." Furious, the mighty Titan demanded, "Are you threatening us with war?" Sitting at the highest seat, His posture alone exuded the authority of a leader. The other Titans glared at Xiaolan's group as though they wanted to devour them alive. "You're threatening us?" they growled. One of the 12 Titans, Thunderbolt, a supernatural rank 5, drew his weapon in anger, preparing to attack at any moment. "Believe me or not, I can kill all of you right here," Xiaolan replied calmly. "Then you'd be declaring war on us." The surrounding Titans roared. Insolence. A mere rank 4 dares speak so arrogantly? But Xiaolan raised her head high, her aura surging, unwavering. "Even if I'm only a rank 4, so what? If I die, then Mountain Titan dies with me." Xiaolan stood tall and proud, radiating an unwavering determination. Just as the furious warriors of the Titan clan were about to charge forward, a majestic figure raised a hand to stop them. His piercing gaze swept over the subordinates, brimming with battle intent, signaling them to stand down. The leader of the Titan clan stared intently at the projection Xiaolan had just shown him about Mountain Titan. One of their mightiest warriors was now gravely wounded, lying motionless in captivity. This projection cannot be fake. Anyone capable of capturing Mountain Titan, their strength is not to be underestimated. He carefully observing Xiaolan's calm expression. There was no ripple, no trace of fear. She stood there as if nothing in the star domain could make her falter. "For now, our priority is to rescue Mountain Titan. Tell me, what do you want?" he asked. Few hours later, Undying Bloodcrow took in every detail and sound of the scene, sent to the Crow leader. He stood next to Yuziyu, spoke with respectful but urgent voice. "Master, Xiaolan and the others have completed negotiations with the Titan Star Domain. The transaction location has been confirmed at the Titan border." Ziyu slightly furrowed his brow. This was much faster than he expected. Bull Demon, standing not far away, spoke up. "Master, if we release Mountain Titan, won't they take the opportunity to counterattack?" Ziyu nodded. "That is a concern indeed. They still don't fully understand our strength. The young often don't fear tigers, and the Titans are no different." Golden Ant, standing beside Bull Demon, spoke coldly. "This time, only our strongest beasts should participate in the exchange. We must display overwhelming power." Glacier nodded in agreement. "Yes, strength is everything. Even if war breaks out, what do we have to fear?" Kaizhou, full of fiery spirit, roared. "Let me go this time." At that very moment, rings of golden light began spiraling through the sky. Ziyu's steady voice responded to the eager voices of the beasts. "You all make valid points, but this time, I will go personally." Just as his words fell, a deafening roar split the skies. Pink Dragon tore through space. Yuziyu quickly jumped and stood firmly atop her powerful body, his arms crossed. Seeing that everything was ready, Yuziyu turned to his subordinates and spoke firmly. "The beast unit will accompany me. Lava Dragon, Royal Insected, Golden Monkey, Zilian, you're coming with me." In the blink of an eye, the entire team turned into brilliant streaks of light shooting into the sky, ripping through space toward the Titan Star Domain. Leading the way, Ziyu lifted his head, his eyes locked onto the far distance, where the Titan Star Domain awaited. He murmured, "Titan Star Domain, I'm coming." At the same time, in the Angel Star Domain, a realm bathed in divine light, a deep voice shattering the silence. Mountain Titan had been captured alive by an unknown force. One angel with golden hair had bowed so low that no one could see his expression, was the first to speak. This intelligence came from within the Titan clan itself. Its credibility is extremely high. Another angel, with a bizarre third eye that glowed with a strange light, added, "Even the location of the transaction has been leaked. Seemed someone within the Titan clan doesn't want Mountain Titan to return alive." The three-eyed angel curled his lips into a smirk, a glimmer of amusement flashing in his eyes. "If a force dares to challenge the Titans, then to us, this is a golden opportunity. An unknown force managed to harm the Titans. Their strength shouldn't be underestimated." At that moment, an angel wearing a mask and standing at the highest point finally spoke with a cold voice, yet carried overwhelming authority. "Send someone to investigate." Ziyu's army raced forward at terrifying speed, leaving behind brilliant golden streaks like shooting stars. Pink Dragon led the charge, carrying Ziyu as she tore through the skies. Standing atop the dragon's head, Ziyu's eyes sparkled with curiosity as he asked, "How far until the exchange point?" Bloodcrow, flying beside him, turned his head briefly and replied, "At this speed, about 8 hours." Ziyu immediately gave an order. "There is a planet over there. Let's land there for a rest." The entire team shifted course, darting toward the planet like arrows piercing the darkness. As they landed, the ground quaked beneath their weight. The terrain was jagged, dotted with strange crescent-shaped rock formations, casting an eerie, desolate atmosphere. The insect princess scanned the surroundings, her sharp eyes narrowing. Spiritual energy spread from her body, transforming into invisible threads that probed the area. She pointed in one direction, her voice certain. "Master, there's a massive concentration of fire spirit stones in that area." For large-scale veins, Uzu nodded and called out, "Lava Dragon." Understanding the order, Lava Dragon flapped his massive wings and soared into the air, his enormous frame blotting out part of the sky. But just then, the insect princess's expression changed. "Master, hundreds of unfamiliar spiritual forces are headed this way." Ziyu frowned, his eyes turning icy cold. "So soon?" Those unfamiliar spiritual forces were the Titans marching in with overwhelming momentum. The strongest among them, towering like a mountain, cast a glance in Ziyu's direction. When they landed, shaking the entire planet to its core, dust and smoke billowed into the air, engulfing Ziyu's army in a cloud of haze. Still, Ziyu stood firm, unmoved. He scoffed coldly, locking eyes with the massive Titan before him. The giant stepped forward, his eyes full of curiosity and wariness. The smaller Titan floated closer, pushing his odd-looking face right up to Ziyu, as if trying to get a better look at this strange being. The rest of the Titans stood motionless as wind swept dust and sand into the air. An uncountable number of Titans had gathered. Their massive, muscular physiques and formidable forces made them impossible to underestimate. Yet Ziyu faced them without a trace of fear. His sharp, commanding gaze swept across the gathered Titans. His eyes locked onto the Titan who had just released the small Titan among the opposing group. 3 individuals had already reached supernatural rank 5. The others behind them most were rank 3 or rank 4. Just then, a familiar voice rang out. "Master!" It's Xiao Lan and her gang had just arrived. A motionless face of Ziyu finally softened into a faint smile to welcome Xiao Lan. "You've had a tough time." She smiled with curved eyes and responded quickly. "I didn't let you down." A Titan, now visibly impatient, barked out, "You bunch of clowns, dare to threaten us?" Ziyu sneered, letting out a cold snort, full of disdain. "We'll see who the real clown is." As the standoff between the two sides reached a boiling point, a voice cut in. "Ha! Unbelievable. The mighty Titan race is actually being pushed back by another force." All of them looked up toward the source of the voice, where a brilliant ring of light had appeared in the sky. Within the light, the faint silhouettes of the angel race shimmered. One figure gradually became clearer as it descended through the air. Upon seeing him clearly, the leading Titan immediately recognized him. "It's Ralph!" With a loud boom, Ralph finally landed. Choosing a high cliff not far away, he spoke in a calm tone. "I haven't come to fight. I'm just curious. Who would dare threaten the mighty Titan race?" The Titan leader roared furiously. "Are you trying to provoke me?" Ralph replied indifferently. "Just curious, that's all." Suddenly, a terrifying surge of power erupted from Ziyu. His entire body was engulfed in blazing spiritual energy. The force shook the earth beneath his feet, splitting rocks and blasting debris in all directions. The eruption was so intense that even the Titans who had been arguing with Ralph stopped to take notice. Ralph himself was visibly shaken by the overwhelming pressure. Sweat poured from his face as he stared wide-eyed. "What is this? What kind of spiritual energy is this? How can it be so powerful?" Ziyu narrowed his eyes, his voice cold and forceful. "I didn't come here to listen to your squabbling." Ralph's face paled in fear. "I am Ralph, one of the 4 great commanders of the Angel Star domain. I only came for a visit, I meant no offense." Only then did Ziyu glance at him. "If the price your Titan race offers doesn't satisfy me, then perhaps you and I can negotiate a different deal." Ralph forced a stiff smile when the impulsive thunderbolt threw a punch at Ziyu, shouting, "You're underestimating us far too much." But just before the blow could land, a large hand caught his wrist midair. Halting his advance completely, Thunderbolt turned to see who had stopped him, and froze. A massive face loomed close. Lava Dragon appeared before them, spreading his massive wings to block their advance. His eyes gleamed with a chilling light, and countless rocks began to float into the air under its control. At that moment, the small Titan shouted, "Stop!" He looked directly at Ziyu and spoke, "We came here to negotiate." Ziyu stared coldly at him and warned, "If you dare raise your hand in front of me again, it will be considered a declaration of war." As soon as he finished speaking, he ordered Golden Monkey to let go. Golden Monkey reverted to his smaller form, and others tried to keep their cool. Time passed how long no one could tell. The Titans began pushing massive blue cubic blocks toward a designated area. They were stacked side by side in a neat formation, waiting for Ziyu. In front of the blue blocks, he muttered to himself, "These cubes, each one looked like towering buildings." In the blink of an eye, the blue cubes transformed. Now they looked like colorful mountains stacked together. Ziyu felt as though he was standing amid an endless range of majestic mountains. This is spirit metal. Normally, finding even a small piece would be considered extremely precious, but here, there were hundreds of thousands of tons. Just then, from a distance, Golden Monkey could be seen lifting something twice his own size over his head and shouting loudly, "Master, Master, we found a seed here." The system notification immediately popped up, showing innate phoenix tree seed. This sacred bloodline seed is imbued with the power of the innate phoenix tree. Yu's face lit up in astonishment. This was truly the sacred tree where phoenixes make their home. This seed must be entrusted to the phoenix. Only the phoenix's immortal flame could awaken and germinate it, and in return, the phoenix could draw upon the seed's essence to grow even stronger. The two were destined to support and enhance each other. Just then, the small titan spoke up. "Everything you asked for has been prepared. Where is Mountain Titan?" Standing firmly not far away, Ziyu remained calm as a large circular portal appeared behind him. A dazzling golden light radiated from within, and a portion of Mountain Titan's massive body emerged from the portal. Eventually, Mountain Titan's colossal figure fully appeared before the Titan tribe. "Take him." Hearing his word, the Titan tribe leader only sneered as he glanced at Mountain Titan. "How pitiful you've become." Mountain Titan glared at him and roared angrily, "Shut your mouth." He added with a hint of dissatisfaction, "My divine weapon, 100 Mountain, is still in their hands." Everyone in the Titan tribe knew full well how powerful the weapon was, so when they heard that, a wave of shock rippled through them. Standing on the cliff, Ralph burst out laughing. "Ha ha ha! You even lost your divine weapon? Your Titan tribe is truly pathetic." The next instant, boom, a terrifying burst of spiritual energy shattered the cliff Larfu was standing on. The Titan tribe leader, who had launched the attack, growled in warning, "I don't want to hear your voice again, Ralph." But Ralph didn't show the slightest fear. Instead, he laughed even louder. Suddenly, as if sensing something, Yuziyu looked toward a certain direction. In the sky, a brilliant beam of light appeared. Xiaolan looked at the streak of light in astonishment. The beam crashed down next to where Yuziyu was standing, as if daring him to make a move. Ziyu frowned, his face icy cold. Through the thick cloud of dust, a giant figure gradually came into view. He laughed heartily. "Ha ha ha! I'm not late, am I?" Seeing who had arrived, Ralph seemed slightly surprised. The flame giant. He came after smelling all the commotion. He's normally lazing and bathing deep inside a star. One of the 8 great elders of the elemental tribe, Yenu. Yenu's entire body was ablaze, his 4 long legs touching the ground like those of a spider. He noticed Yuziyu standing directly in front of him and asked suspiciously, "You carry the aura of the elemental race." Ziyu replied calmly, "Perhaps someone from the elemental race is part of our faction." He stood firm before Yenu, showing no signs of weakness. The flame giant observed he from head to toe, inwardly pondering, "This aura is no ordinary one. It closely resembles the aura of the elders from our tribe." Meanwhile, Ziyu thought of Black Tiger, Qingzhao, and Langfeng, and silently made a decision. "It's best not to mention that I once condensed elemental flowers and fruits." With a wave of his hand, Ziyu opened a portal and summoned the massive divine weapon of Mountain Titan. The leader of the Titan tribe, upon witnessing this scene, couldn't help but exclaim in shock, "Only the hilt is left?" Ziyu used the tendril to coil around the hilt and pull it out, calmly replying, "The blade of this divine weapon was shattered by myself. I can return it to you, but in exchange, you must answer a question." The leader of the Titan tribe remained silent, up high. Ralph couldn't suppress his curiosity. "A question worth a divine weapon? If I answer it, does the weapon go to me?" Without hesitation, Ziyu responded, "Of course." Yenu chimed in as well. "Then I should have the same chance, right?" The Titan tribe members finally couldn't hold back their growing agitation. "Don't push it too far," someone snapped, but Ziyu didn't even care. Eventually, the leader of the Titan tribe asked what the question was. Ziyu furrowed his brows and voiced the doubt in his heart. "The great divine ability, one's spirit transforming into 3 deities. How much do you know about it?" Upon hearing those words, both Ralph and Yenu knew visibly changed expressions. The Titan tribe leader lowered his head in silence. Ziyu recalled the shadowy figure who had once spoken to him. "Go find one spirit transforming into 3 deities. Only by searching the 7th order will you be able to find me and the Eastern Emperor's bell." Back in the present, Yuziyu gazed straight ahead, expression serious. He thought silently, "If I want to break through to rank 7, I must comprehend the principle of creation, the transformation of all things, unravel the doorway to all mysteries, and overcome tribulation to unite with the heavens' rules. Only then can I grasp the great fortune that lies beyond." But does any race truly understand it? Ralph said regretfully. Looks like this divine weapon just isn't fated for me. Yenu also looked reluctant. Same for me. The entire Titan tribe fell silent. Seems no one knows, he said. Then I'll be taking it with me. Just then, the leader of the Titan tribe suddenly stopped him. Clenching his hand tightly, he raised it slowly. This is all I know. In the next moment, he pointed at Ziyu, transmitting something directly into his mind. Ziyu suddenly felt as if he were standing in a vast starry sky. To his amazement, the Milky Way beneath his feet formed the shape of a Tai Chi diagram. His eyes widened in surprise, but a moment later, he immediately denied it. No, that's not right. Looking closely at the diagram formed before him, Ziyu realized it wasn't a symbol, this was a galaxy. At that moment, a voice rang out from behind. It belonged to a member of the Titan tribe. That is the Tai Chi diagram, the eternal imperial weapon. In the process of awakening, it was forged by the same being who created one spirit transforming into 3 deities. The secret you seek can be found here. Yenu and the group of Titans fixed their eyes on Ziyu. He opened his eyes right when Xiaolan started to be worried and called her master. A piercing sound sliced through the air. The hilt of a massive divine weapon, resembling a small mountain, was hurled forward at terrifying speed. Mountain Titan reached out and caught the hilt of his enormous divine weapon. Facing the Titan race, Ziyu asked in a cold voice, "Now can you tell me, where is that star system located?" The small Titan was silent for a moment before replying. "It's a remote star region in the far east called the Kadara star domain." Ziyu narrowed his eyes and asked again, "How long does it take to get there from here?" He replied truthfully, "It took me half a year when I went there previously." Ziyu rubbed his chin thoughtfully. Even with the Titan's speed, it still takes half a year? Not far away, Yenu let out a rumbling voice. "What? No more fighting? How boring." He glanced down at Ziyu below, distracted, and thought, that guy isn't just strong himself. His subordinates are terrifying too. All of them are rank 5 and above. If the Titans really go to war with them, it would be a battle that shakes the heavens. If war breaks out, even if the Titan race isn't annihilated, they'll suffer heavy casualties. From above, Ralph suddenly spoke. "It seems this matter ends here for now. Let's go." Looking down at Yuzu, he added, "You over there, feel free to visit the Angel Star domain. We will welcome you." With that, Ralph flapped his wings and flew upward. Ziyu silently looked at the pillar of light Ralph had left behind. Seeing that there was no point in waiting any longer, Yenu shouted, "I'm leaving too." The small Titan rejoined his fellow Titans. What needed to be said had been said. The rest was up to you. With that, the Titans turned and flew away. Ziyu looked up at the sky, where countless specks of light shimmered, the residual spiritual energy trails left by those who had just departed. One of the Titans couldn't hold back and turned toward Mountain Titan, shouting, "Mountain, just what kind of force did you provoke?" He stammered, "I'm not sure either, but there's one thing I'm certain of. Their leader isn't just a rank 5 transcendent, it's the power of rank 6, and most importantly, that was just a clone of his." Hearing this, the Titan next to him was visibly shocked. "This situation is far more complicated than we imagined. We must report this to the first divine pillar immediately." Meanwhile, in a distant part of the vast cosmos, a streak of golden light flashed through space. Its Ralph flew silently, deep in thought. Any force that dares to threaten the Titans cannot be ordinary. With the first appearance, they already sent 9 in the 5th rank. This is already the level of a top-tier force. Back on Ziyu's side, Golden Monkey stood excitedly on a massive sword. This sword is huge. It's the kind used by Titans. Not far away, his master sat cross-legged atop a piece of land, silent and deep in thought. Zelian stared at his back and couldn't help asking curiously, "Master has been sitting there for 3 hours. Is he thinking about once he transforms into 3 deities?" Ziyu rubbed his chin and thought to himself, "What should I do to make this work?" He felt a bit conflicted. If he brought everyone along, then for the next half year, none of them would be able to cultivate. It might be better to let them continue developing on Earth and Azure Mist Star instead. Having made up his mind after another 3 hours, Ziyu clenched a fist and slapped it into his other palm, swiftly making a decision. "That's right, I'll go with that plan." As soon as he said this, a powerful tremor suddenly erupted behind him, sending thick black smoke billowing into the sky. From the dark smoke, Golden Monkey emerged with a wide grin. "Master, we caught a beast." On the ground, a green-skinned beast with 2 horns and fiery red hair was being pinned down by Insect King. The beast growled angrily. "You ambushed me. How despicable. Let me go." Ziyu examined the creature closely and thought to himself, its appearance is quite similar to that of a Kirin. Golden Monkey laughed cheerfully next to him. "Master, this is the one we caught sneaking around near our area in space recently. Insect King quickly added, even with both of us working together, it almost escaped. The beast's veins bulged with fury. I just took one look. Why did you attack me? At that moment, the system displayed information about the beast. Metal Devouring Beast rank 5 with obviously Metal Devour as innate talent. Her strength was enhanced by consuming metals and capable of purging impurities and retaining highly refined metal. Special traits, Divine Body of Phoenix Patterns, forged by frequent consumption of royal blood purple metal. Even when heavily injured, she can recover fully within a day. Divine Claws, capable of tearing through almost anything. Earth Submersion, adept at hiding underground. Divine Ability, Devour Heaven and Earth, consumes everything within its range. That's insane. It not only devours metals, but can also discharge metal with an even higher purity, and it constantly feeds on royal blood purple metal. He glanced at Pink Dragon nearby and asked, "Do you know what royal blood purple metal is?" Pink Dragon replied honestly that she had no idea. The Devourer Beast suddenly shouted in frustration, "You don't even know such a thing. It's a required material for forging Emperor weapons. And not just that, there are tons of other divine metals too." Right after that, a mocking voice echoed in Ziyu's ears. "Ha! Idiot! You're so dumb." Ziyu's face darkened, his head pounding. Without a word, he turned his back to the beast. "I'm leaving this one to you. If it doesn't cooperate, feel free to beat it up." Hearing that, the Devourer Beast broke out in cold sweat. Before she could say more, Golden Monkey quickly tied her mouth shut with a rope and bound her tightly, ready to take her back for interrogation. Ziyu waved his hand, opening a spatial gate. Before leaving, he turned to the others and said, "Let's go. Time to head back." Meanwhile, in the Angel Star domain, a place filled with church-like architecture and countless crosses, a lone angel stood atop the highest spire. 9 at rank 5? Could they really have that kind of background? Ralph looked up at him and replied, "That's not all. Besides those 9, they have a leader as well. He possesses strength at Transcendent rank 6. Ralph hesitated before adding his speculation. "I suspect they are a force from an ancient era." His words shocked everyone into stunned silence. In the world of Vitality, Ziyu's group had just returned. Ninetails was already there to welcome them back. "Master, how did it go?" Ziyu replied calmly. "Not too bad. Take these. This one is a supreme fire element treasure. As for the other seed, give it to Phoenix. Let it incubate it using Phoenix Divine Flame." Ninetails responded earnestly and thought it was all. The next second, Ziyu eagerly flipped through the pile of items he had brought back. This was for Xiaoling. This would be best not to hand to Brother Nine. This was too small. He looked like an old man tried to bring best gifts to his childs after a long trip. Meanwhile, on the other side, Golden Monkey was standing atop a tall cliff, loudly recounting his journey to his 2 best friends. "At that time, I used a single palm to suppress that arrogant titan who dared attack our master, pinning him to the ground so he couldn't even move. I was seriously awesome." Honey Badger, standing below him, looked up in awe and marveled, then made the story short. "You guys stole so many things." The sky was overcast with thick, dark clouds. A fine drizzle misted over the sea. At the Elemental Clan's territory, where Yenu stood on a high ledge surrounded by many of his tribesmen. In front of him appeared a slender figure. Yenu looked up and said, "From his body, I can sense the aura of one of our clan's treasures." Hearing that, the person frowned in doubt. The aura of one of our clan's treasures? Could it be that they have also managed to conceive an elemental divine treasure? Yenu spoke in a low, gravelly voice. "If they truly have such an item, I'm afraid we won't be able to take it by force. Perhaps we should follow the Titan's example and use another treasure to trade for it." Several of Yenu's tribesmen turned to look at one floating in the air. No one spoke a word. Cold sweat broke out on Yenu's back as he quickly corrected himself. "Forget anything I said." But the figure looked down from above and said, "No, perhaps that's actually a good idea. Go tell him and see how he responds." At the same time, back at the base of Ziyu's true body, the willow tree. Its branches swayed gently in the breeze as Ziyu returned to his peaceful daily life. Ninetails appeared before him and asked, "Master, are you in a bad mood? Are you troubled by the matter of the great emperor?" Ziyu's gaze drifted into the distance. "Only 8 months remain. I wonder with my current strength, I'll be able to stand against him." As if reading his heart, Ninetails asked, "Master, are you thinking of one's spirit transforming into 3 deities?" Mentioning that, Ziyu's expression immediately turned grave. "A journey that takes half a year, 1 year round trip, but without it, there's no chance of defeating the great emperor. The information from the Titan clan very important to me. If the great emperor truly descends and I'm not here, what will happen to all of you?" Ninetails looked at him seriously and said, "Master, just go. No matter how long it takes, we will hold the line until you return. Ziyu turned to her in surprise. Not far away, Bull Demon also spoke up. Do not worry about us. Do not hesitate because of us. Master, do what you must. Golden Ant also added, compared to when we fought against the darkness, we're much stronger now, and will become even stronger, standing side by side. Kuijo with Glacier both looked determined. We will protect Earth and Azure Star. Thorn and Thunder Dragon both looked at Ziyu and spoke in unison. Us too, White Tiger shouted loudly. Everyone is going to die. It's not a line people were expecting, but it had spirit in it. Panda stood up straight and declared, we will wait for your return. When that time comes, let's drive the great emperor out of the galaxy together. So please, Master, just do what you truly want to do. Ziyu, in his true form, soared into the void of space, flying forward. His eyes narrowed, his face filled with determination. Thank you, everyone. I will definitely find what I'm searching for. With those words, he shot forth like a blazing golden streak through the cosmos. At the same time, elsewhere in the starry void, the great emperor was drifting through the vast expanse of space, slowly advancing. His destination clearly the blue planet, Earth, a world capable of nurturing life. Somewhere in the universe, a mysterious girl was in conversation with an enigmatic figure. During their exchange, she suddenly mentioned a familiar name, Divine Tree. Back on Titan Planet, the first divine pillar gazed down from above. If it's merely a rank 5 transcendent, we can deal with it. But if it's a rank 6 transcendent, then it's beyond what we can handle. Small Titan looked up and asked, if even you can't defeat him, shouldn't we avoid provoking him altogether? The first divine pillar immediately issued an order. Place them on the Tier 1 watch list. No member of our race is allowed to provoke them. Violation of this rule will lead to immediate expulsion from the clan. Just then, the first divine pillar sensed a powerful tremor. Shock flashed across his face as he clenched the armrest of his throne. Such overwhelming spiritual energy. The little Titan recognized right away. It's him. He's already begun his journey to that place. The Angel Realm, home of the angelic race. Everyone could see the trail of glowing blue light left behind by Ziyu. In Elemental Realm, could see the same. Not even a second was wasted, because for the next half year, he would travel day and night without rest.